one night I was watching it's Channel 7. I was in 5th grade. It was December of that year. I think it was 2004. And they said, we're looking for new weather spotters and weather observers from around the area. And I said, hey, maybe I'll give it a try. I'm always outside. I'm always active outside. So the weather I always need to be aware of. So maybe I can send them my temperature and how much snow we get.
Right.
So I emailed them that night. I got a response, minutes later, and they said, yeah, that'd be great. We'd love to have you. We have a few other kids your age. And since then, it's just grown into something that I think I want to go into. And I'm still very much involved in that today. But also that same year, I remember we had one snowstorm, and this is what really kind of kept me going and started sending in reports to other stations. We had a snowstorm, and we had what we call thunder snow. There was a storm that was what we call going under bombogenesis. It's a big word.
Okay.
All that means is the storm was blowing up offshore. It was really growing. It was really strengthening. And it was strengthening so much that we actually had thunderstorms with snow.
Well,
and you think of the heavy rain that you get out of a thunderstorm. Imagine the heavy snow that you can get out of a thunderstorm. And we got 4 inches of snow in 1 hour in Atkinson. That was when I first started, reporting the snowfall amounts into the different stations. And that's what really got me hooked. And they really appreciated that report that they got because the Merrimack Valley, the Atkinson area, was really getting slammed hard. And I think we ended up with something like 20 inches of snow out of that one storm, 4 or 5 of it falling in the course of an hour or two. So it's really incredible.
What are the elements of weather? What is the most important parts that you look for?
Well, what makes a storm is a temperature clash. You have cold air to the north, warm air to the south. When they clash, that's when you get a storm, and that's when you get thunderstorms in the summer. That's when you get snowstorms in the winter. Okay. That's really the main trigger, that temperature difference, because the weather's always trying to balance itself out. And in order to balance itself out, to go from, say, hypothetically, you have to go from 90 degrees to 60 degrees, there's going to be some sort of weather system in between.
How about the geography? I would imagine geography is a big part of it.
Absolutely, especially here in New England. There are so many different factors that come together here. We have the coast. Just a few miles away from us, and then up north we have the mountains. And both of those interact. In the summertime, you'll get those sea breezes at the coastline. Sometimes those sea breezes are so strong that they can actually lift the atmosphere enough that we can generate a thunderstorm out of them. And sometimes we get some of our worst snowfalls in the winter along what we call a sea breeze front that kind of sets up. And helps to regenerate the snowfall and helps to really get it to come down hard. And it's typically in that 495 corridor where that wind pushes back. And the coast certainly plays a big role in that.
You must network quite a bit with some of the other meteorologists that are around the area. Talk about some of those.
That's right. Yes, that's right. Well, I'm very friendly with a number of the meteorologists that you see on TV every day. Matt Noyce, who's on NACN, I talk with him quite a lot. He's been almost like a mentor to me. He's done some great things, and he's a great guy and is always looking to help me out as well. Jeremy Reiner on Channel 7. They've all been great to me. Barry Burbank on Channel 4. I talk with him a lot. We talk about the weather a lot, and he's given me some great advice, as they all have, really. They're all looking to help us out. Al Caprillion, too, who used to be on TV around here. He does a great job as well.
Right, he still does. Talk a little more about like Matt Noyce, for instance. What's he doing nowadays?
Yeah, well, he's on NACN, as you know. I think he's on the night shift on weekdays. And back in 8th grade, I actually had the opportunity to meet Matt. Actually, it was in 7th grade because his mother was a teacher at my middle school.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Timberlane and Plastow, and he came in to talk about the weather with the 8th grade class, and I was allowed to go to the presentation as a 7th grader. One of my teachers got me in, and I got to meet Matt. I walked around with him. We talked for a little while, and he had already known of me because I had sent in reports and sent in, weather pictures to him. And it was a great meeting him then, and since then he's almost been like a mentor to me. I met him again in 8th grade when he came back to visit. I've gone down to NECN before, and spent the day with him and gone through the whole weather motions
great.
and everything like that.
Great. What kind of tools do you use, and especially for the weather watching? I don't know how in depth you need to give them a report or whatever.
I have what you call a weather station, Larry, and what that has is it has a thermometer with it. It has a wind anemometer, which measures the wind. It has a rain gauge where you can measure the rain, a barometer and things of that nature, and it's really not all that big. You put it on the top of the house and it measures. Is
this something that you create, or is it something that you order?
It.
Okay,
yeah, no.
And they will make sure that it's certified and that it's properly working.
That's what weather watching is all about.
Right.
You know, we have airports around the area which all have weather stations with them that are maintained by the National Weather Service, one in Lawrence, one in Manchester, one in Nashua. And all those towns in between, there are no reports from them. And that's where weather watchers, weather spotters come in hand. We report, the temperature, the snowfall, the rain from all our towns. So I'm the one in Atkinson, there's one in Salem, there's one in Methuen, and we all fill in those gaps because obviously the weather in Atkinson is different than the weather in Manchester or Nashua. And that's really where weather spotters and weather watchers come in handy.
Is there a big difference though?
There certainly can be. Most days there isn't. It might be 1 or 2 degrees. But when you talk about a snowstorm, there certainly can be a big difference, even from one edge of your town to the next. I remember one snowstorm at my house, we had 10 inches, while on the other side of town, they got 16 inches. And I didn't believe that. And I said, I really don't believe this. So I went down and I checked. And at that time, there was another weather watcher on the other side of town. And I said, wow, you're right. The way that the snow just set up, it's not that localized.
It is kind of rare that it'd be that much of a difference. But that's interesting. You also have your own website.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that, which sounds pretty exciting and intricate.
Yes, that's right. I developed the website atkinsonweather.com, just that easy, atkinsonweather.com. And what I did, I started it I was back in middle school. It wasn't very advanced, I'll be honest with you. Back then, it was a little basic. I put the Atkinson temperature and things like that. and since then, it's really grown, and a lot of people actually go on it a day. I average, in between a few hundred views a day, and on a severe weather day, when we have thunderstorms and we have snow, sometimes I can get up to 1,000 hits a day on the website.
That's great.
So,
that's great.
They're updated by myself daily, and they're not only for Atkinson. The website might be atkinsonweather.com, but I have a lot of people, in Methuen, in Salem and Hampstead that log on to get the forecast every day. And it's a forecast that I create using the same data that you see meteorologists, on TV or with the National Weather Service use. Maybe not to the same extent, but I definitely look over the same data, and I'm getting used to forecasting. And it's something that I really enjoy doing because, a lot of people go on it every day. It's their one click, it's their source for the weather, and it's really, humbling when you hear somebody say that.
So are you going to plan on expanding on it?
Well, I already have a lot on it, Larry. I have interactive radar. That's a huge part of it. I'm on Twitter. I'm not sure if you're on Twitter, but Atkinson Weather is on Twitter.
Good.
We have a few hundred followers on there. Facebook, you can follow us there as well. I post forecasts there as well. Occasionally I'll do video updates too. If we have some really bad weather, that's the best and easiest way to get the information out and to convey it. And sometimes I'll do updates in the form of video as well.